Today is going to be an interesting one, so I need you to just bear with me. It's not what you think, it gets better, okay? So today's manga is called Onani Master Kurosawa. This is a manga that when my friend told me to read it, he started out with what the premise was, and it did not sound very appealing. But then you get into it, you start reading it, and you're like, wow, this was actually a really, really good story with good character development. So we're going to jump into it. Once again, bear with me because it gets better. It's a little strange up front, but it gets better. Onani Master Kurosawa was written by Katsura Issei and illustrated by Yoko. It was published in 4 volumes, it has 31 chapters, and it has 2 light novel chapters that are titled Onani Master Kurosawa After the Juvenile. So it takes place after where this story ends. I'm going to start with the author, and then you'll kind of figure out where this is going. So this was actually, there's not much on the author, on Katsura Issei. What this person writes all the time is for doujins. So Onani Master Kurosawa was written in 2007. It's a manga. And then he went on to do several others after that, some that I haven't really heard of. But regardless, all you need to know is that this person writes doujins. The quick summary of what this manga is about, and I'm just going to go through and be sliding through panels and pages. You can see I'm going to kind of talk about it as we go. But I'm just going to hit some of the main story points and some of the plots. But you're going to see from the pictures, it's a little graphic at times. I don't think it's anything that's too not safe for YouTube, hopefully, regardless. So, what this is this kid named Kurosawa. He's a junior high kid. He goes into the girls' bathroom. This is a girls' bathroom that doesn't get used. It's like an older one. Nobody goes in here. So this is like his alone place. And he calls it his daily routine. So he goes into this bathroom every single day. And then he rubs one out. Then he sprays it on the wall like what you see here. It's very, very weird, kind of disturbing. But he does this every single day. He goes to the bathroom, he calls it his meals, alright? So he thinks about a girl that's in his class or somebody that he knows, and that's who he will spray to that day. And he does this for a while. I don't know if it says exactly how long he's been doing this for, but he's basically a super degenerate. He goes every day at the same time, and this is during school, mind you. He goes every day at the same time into the girls' bathroom, and then he freaking paints the bathroom wall with his love gun, then he wipes it off, and then goes on his merry way. Well, eventually he meets this girl here. Her name is Kitahara. She's in his class, but I don't think he knows much about her. But what happens is she catches him after he's leaving the girls' bathroom, and he's like, oh, F, I screwed up, kind of makes up an excuse, doesn't really think anything of it. But as we carry on throughout the story, we find out that Kitahara has been bullied very severely by some girls. And Kurosawa, he notices this, and it kind of puts him off. To get back at this girls, what he does, Kurosawa takes the girls' clothes that are bullying Kitahara, and he does this thing. He paints them. He paints their clothes with his juices to get back at these girls. So eventually, what happens is Kitahara knows about Kurosawa and what he does. She knows that it's him. She knows that he goes to the girls' bathroom every day, and she basically starts blackmailing him into helping her do hits on girls that she doesn't like, people that are bullying her, people that have rubbed her the wrong way. Very weird and interesting. And they do a Catcher in the Rye reference. I'm not really sure what that is. I am aware of Catcher in the Rye. I've never seen or read it, but I'm assuming it has something to do with blackmail and performing hits on people. In this case, the bro's just freaking nutting on everything. He's just nuts to get back at people. As the story progresses, this is a very short manga, mind you, but as the story progresses, our boy Kurosawa, he starts to change. As the story progresses, we learn about different characters. We meet this Afro Man. I think his name's Naoka, but I'm just going to call him Afro Man. So Afro Man is just like one of the nicest dudes. He's always trying to get Kurosawa, who's kind of a shut-in. He doesn't really want to talk to anybody or let anybody in. But Afro Man is always trying to like get Kurosawa to hang out with him when they're in gym class. He's like, bro, like, come do stretches with me. Like, let's be friends. He's an otaku, so he's a nerd. He's kind of the leader of the nerd brigade. So eventually Kurosawa, there's another girl that he starts having interactions with and kind of builds a little bit of relationship with. So up to this point, he's been performing some hits on these bully girls that have been bullying Kitahara. He eventually meets another girl named Takigawa. He starts building a relationship with her, and he starts to fall in love with her. But what happens is, the more his relationship progresses with Takigawa, he eventually finds out that Takigawa is actually in love with Afro Man, and her and Afro Man start dating. And it really pisses off Kurosawa, because up to this point, like, Kitahara's like, I want you to keep doing hits, and Kurosawa's like, bro, no, I'm done. I'm done doing these hits. I don't want to do this anymore. I found somebody that's cool. I want to be a better person. When he finds out Takigawa and Afro Man are dating, he loses it. He goes full psycho. Like, he's done. He's like, bro, like, I can't take this anymore. That's the girl I love. I hate this guy so much. He's always trying to freaking be nice to me, and I hate it. I don't like him at all. What he does is he takes Takigawa's books in her book bag, and he colors them his human color. And then eventually she finds the book bag, sees that it's been painted, and she's just disgusted. She's like shook and horrified, and she doesn't trust anybody anymore, and it like destroys her. She is not doing great. And then Kurosawa feels so bad. He feels so terrible for his actions. She finds the books with the stuff on there, and then Kurosawa feels so bad. He's just like, bro, like, I have ruined this girl. I have completely ruined her, completely broke her, all because he was jealous. He was in love with her, but mad at Afro Man, and it just wasn't good. So what happens is Kitahara comes to him again, and she's like, hey, I want you to do more hits. I want you to keep doing this. And then, because she's like, if you don't, then I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to tell everybody that what you do, you go into this bathroom every day, you're a freak. Kurosawa is like, you know what? Screw you. I'm done. I'm done with this. So after Kurosawa, he tells Kitahara off. He's like, no, I'm done. And she's like, well, I'm going to blackmail you. And he says, you don't have to worry about it. So what he does is the next day at school, he goes up into the front of the class, and then he tells everybody that he was the one that had been doing these incidences. And then for the next, who knows how long, it's been a while, he just gets bullied. After this, he gets beat up. He gets bullied. People make fun of him. They start trashing his desk. Literally torturing this man. He is in the ringer. Anything that happened to Kitahara, this is far worse. Far worse. He's just getting completely shunned, destroyed, and he takes it like a champ. He takes it on the chin. He says, you know what? I made a mistake. This is how I'm going to repent of it. This is how I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to take my beating on the chin, and I'm going to keep going. Whereas Kitahara, when she was getting bullied, she couldn't keep it together. She was losing it. She was crumbling underneath it. And what I found interesting, too, reading up to this point, is Kurosawa wasn't really bullied at all. He was a shut-in that kind of hung out in the back. He was a wallflower. People knew of him, but the roles now flipped at this point. So he was now the one being bullied. And I found it interesting that the girl that he was trying to help in the very beginning, who was getting bullied, was the one that got him into a situation to where now he was the one getting bullied. So Kurosawa really does take a beating. You can see here they vandalize his desk, draw all sorts of obscenities and different sayings about him and how he just freaking nuts all the time and whatnot. So as he takes it on the chin, it's very admirable as you're reading this. You're seeing, and like I said, it's a very condensed, short story. It's 31 chapters, and it goes fast. It goes by really fast, and yet, in this short amount of time, you're able to see this character, see how much of a degenerate he is, and then see his redemption arc as well. The man's just getting beat up, he's getting trashed. I find it interesting. Obviously, it's a story that nobody called the cops or anything, because I think what he's doing was completely disgusting. But I digress. He eventually, after everybody hates him, they call him a degenerate, he talks to the teacher, and the teacher's like, bro, like, I see that you're getting beat up and bullied. He's like, usually I gotta tell your parents about this when this kind of stuff is happening. And then Kurosawa's like, you know, yeah, if you want to talk to my parents, go ahead. Tell them exactly what I did. Kind of owning up to it. And the teacher was like, bro, you're the freaking real one, man. Like, you're a gamer. What I found interesting, too, here in this scene is Kurosawa finally leaves the door. And this is kind of like the metaphor for this whole story is Kurosawa is kind of a shut-in. He doesn't want to let people into his life. He's always behind the door in the bathroom stall. And after he goes through all of this, he gets bullied, getting beat up all the time, getting made fun of. He's able to just face it all, and he finally leaves that bathroom door. He went from a shut-in who didn't care about anyone, but making up fake scenarios in his head. Then he left the stall of loneliness, and he started making real connections with people. Eventually, Afro Man forgives Kurosawa. They didn't look at each other for weeks, and Afro Man finally forgave Kurosawa. Kurosawa started talking to Takigawa again, and she forgave him, and they had a little moment where they made up. And then, as the story progresses, we find that bully, that same bully that was bullying Kitahara in the very beginning, the same girl that he got back at in the very beginning, he starts to build a relationship with her, and they end up falling in love and dating. And there's a scene in here too when it comes to that girl. I think he's talking to Kitahara at this point in time, but I'm paraphrasing it because I don't know the exact quote. But Kurosawa says he would rather get rejected than to never find out at all. It's just insane the path that Kurosawa goes on to get to this point. Once again, starting out, it's a very weird premise where this dude is literally in a bathroom stall just yerking onto the freaking door all the time. Just nutting on the wall, wiping it off. Does this every single day. He's a complete shut-in degenerate. He goes from that to finally leaving that metaphorical door that he's kept himself in, that room, that stall. He leaves that stall, and he's able to build real relationships. Instead of just thinking about these girls in his head and then yoinking it to them, he actually builds a relationship with a girl. He gets a girlfriend, and they end up falling in love, and they get married. But before that, he's also able to save Kitahara. A year goes by after they graduate middle school, so they're in high school at this point, and Kitahara is a shut-in. She doesn't go to school anymore. After Kurosawa and everybody else has kind of forgiven each other, they've all gone to different high schools, they do like a class reunion. And at this class reunion, everyone's like, yo, Kitahara didn't show up. And Kurosawa at this point had gone to her house, and he's like, hey, we're doing this reunion, will you please come? And she didn't. She would not come. She refused to come. So at the party, he's like, hey, everybody, like, we're here. I gotta go get somebody. So he goes back to Kurosawa's house, and he talks her into showing up, and she does, and it's kind of like everybody's stories get resolved. She's able to leave and kind of face her fears. Like, she was bullied very badly, and that same girl that was bullying her wanted to apologize, ask for forgiveness, and is the girl that is dating Kurosawa at this point. The last chapters, they end up falling in love. It's super cute to see their romance unfold because she's kind of like a stubborn, hard-headed personality, and she hooks up with Kurosawa, who is trying to just be a better person. And it's really fun for me to see all of these different character relationships pan out and bloom. You've got the bully, who kind of started the whole mess, bullying Kitahara. She's the one that hooks up with Kurosawa, who got back at her at the beginning. Anyway, it's just a big, long spider web of relationships. And once again, it is super fun. There are parts in this where you're just like, whoa, very emotionally hard-hitting. Once again, it starts out as like what the heck is this? This is really weird. This guy's just doing his daily in a bathroom stall, but then it transforms into something that is honestly really, really freaking good. I have never heard of this before until my friend told me about it, and I'm going to recommend it to you guys. It's 31 chapters of complete and utter weird, chaotic character development that is really good. It's a very fun roller coaster ride, and I recommend this one. I think it was a fun one. I think anybody that likes good character development with kind of an odd story will really like this one as well. So if you haven't read this manga, you should read it and let me know what your thoughts are down below. If you've had read this manga, let me know what your thoughts are down below as well. Am I weird for liking this? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Is it actually a good story, or am I just a crazy weirdo? Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it rad.